Ready?
Oh,
What are you
I've got
doing?
an earl in it, have I? Sorry,
no,
I've got an
you're
earl
fine.
in the top.
Oh, that's why you put your head through, isn't it?
Have I got something in my eye? Yeah, an
An
eyeball.
eyeball.
Right.
Greetings, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 1st to the 4th of July 2024, or thereabouts, because, sport, derailed the schedules, sent EastEnders to all sorts of weird and wonderful places. It was on BBC Two, it was on BBC Three, pretty sure it showed up on Sky Arts at some point during the week. It was everywhere. So I hope you managed to catch it up. But iPlayer was consistent, did its thing. So hopefully you're all caught up and you've seen all of the episodes. Hello, I'm Rob. Joining me as per usual to discuss another week of EastEnders is Ree. Hello, Ree. How are you?
Hello, Rob. I'm good. How
Good.
are you?
So
Let us all know how your night was.
I've been up all night watching the election. If you're in the UK, you'll be slightly aware that you might be slightly aware there was a little bit of an election going on.
A little thing happened yesterday.
This little thing that was kind of going on. I love an election. I love the drama of it. I love watching.
Oh, it's the drama, Mick.
It's the drama, Mick. I just love it. I love watching politicians I don't like losing their seats. It's great. There was quite a bit of that last night. Quite a bit of that. I don't want to kind of give you an idea about which way I politically lean, but
come on, I think we know.
I think they probably know. I'm a right BNP member.
Don't even joke, Rob. Come on.
So it was quite the night. If this was a politics podcast, let me tell you, I could go on for hours about the events of last night. I really could. But as a result of that, I've been up all night, so I'm slightly zoned out. Ree may have to steer the rudder slightly this week, but we'll see how we get on. Get on. But due for another week of EastEnders, I'm looking forward to discussing this week because there was some excellent moments, some great character moments. I'm very excited to talk about it. However, Ree, we are into a new month. You wouldn't know about it because we've not had this one on the wall that often because we were away and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, we went on. It was a good one.
It was a good one.
July, though.
Say goodbye to Peggy and her water pistol.
Ooh,
a great picture. Well done. And this is July. Now. So this is one of Peggy's last episodes as a regular character, isn't it? Because this is the run-up to the Vic fire when Phil's on crack with alcohol. Burn this place down. And then he throws that bottle on the floor and sets fire to it. And the whole Vic explodes in spectacular style. And I mean, what else came out of that? The Vic burns down, Peggy leaves.
Is this a good enough audio description of the photo for anyone who's just listening? It is a photo of Phil, like Rob's just said, drunk and on crack. And he and Peggy are having an argument at the bottom of the Vic stairs.
Like Rob just said.
Clarifying what the photo was. I don't know.
But anyway, and so lots happened in that episode. Nobody died because I think we all thought that because we knew Peggy was leaving at this point. And you kind of put two and two together. It was like, all right, so the Vic's going to burn down, is it? And Peggy's leaving. Peggy dying in the Vic, that would feel somewhat poetic, wouldn't it? But it didn't work out that way. Peggy decided that the best thing for her to do for Phil was just to leave and walk away down the road. She left with her head held high. What else happened in that episode? Stacey told Ryan that Lily was his. I mean, can we just point that out? Yeah, but can we just point that out? This would have been, I think, 2010. Lily's a parent now.
I literally thought Lily's a parent. Lily's like 2010,
Yeah. Lily's a parent now. Just let that settle in.
Lily is a parent.
She is a young parent. She is a young parent, but she's still a parent. In fact, Lily is probably the same age here as baby Charlie XCX is now, I think.
Yes, possibly, yeah. Wow.
I feel 108. So there we are then. So I thought we'd have a little bit of a discussion before we start talking about this week. The election happened, and we had a nice typical EastEnders insert scene. Did you notice this week?
Oh, I did, yes, between Ian and Harvey.
Between Ian and Harvey, when they were talking, when Ian basically turned around to Harvey and was like, people like me and you, we need to stick together and vote. Now, what do you think that implied?
Right. Well, I did wonder this a couple of times. I was like, is this a little bit racist? And I thought, do you know what?
Well, I mean, this is Ian.
Well, and, actually, I didn't think he did mean that. I thought he meant, us upper class, but then, like, obviously Harvey's not.
Harvey's not upper class.
I know, that's what I mean.
And there's no way Ian would ever think of Harvey as upper class either.
You don't think Ian votes reform?
Well, I
don't think he's a reformer.
I don't know, because you'll remember when that mural got put up on the side of the house, he did describe that as something to do with the woke brigade. That is the sort of thing that Ian would come out with. He's at least...
That is true.
There's no point denying that Ian is at least a Tory.
Yeah, no, but that's what I think he is. I think he's a Tory. I don't think he's a reformer. Sure.
But then I also wonder if he sort of looked at it.
Reform.
No, well, maybe not. I mean, Harvey will have been reform at one point, I think.
Yes, Harvey would have been reform, but I don't think he would be anymore.
Not these days. I think he probably would be a Labour boy these days. I would think Harvey would be. So okay then. So who are we thinking?
Or Lib Dem Harvey.
You reckon? I can see. Well, I can see Harvey being very Labour. I think I look at Harvey and I think that's about as Labour voting as you can get, really, isn't it? He's pretty kind of central, I think.
Yeah, but you can look at a lot of people and think that, and they end up voting Conservative. And
who do you think voted for what in the square? Do we think?
Oh God, well, you're gonna have to. Where do we start?
So
who do we start with?
Like I say, so Freddie would have gone green for 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Green. 100%.
Either that. So Freddie, Anna, and I reckon Bobby probably all went green.
Yes. And Anna green or Labour. Yeah.
No, I can see Anna being green and maybe Gina Labour. I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Elaine, whichever gave her the biggest Labour.
Yeah, I think she should be Labour. Drink something else.
There you go.
Just Labour.
There we go. So Phil. Now, what do we reckon about Phil? Once upon a time, Phil would have been a reform voter. I think he's mellowed. Yeah. He's mellowed in his old age, hasn't he, old Phil?
I don't think Phil could be asked.
I don't think Phil could be asked either.
He'd be like, they're all the same. They're all the same anyway. Don't affect me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, once upon a time, Phil would have been the most right-wing person on the entire square, but I think he's mellowed. He's mellowed, having a gay son and sort of living in quite a multicultural area. I think that's mellowed him out slightly.
He's got a mixed race son now. He's got a half black son as well.
There you go. Yes, Sharon. Now we spoke about this. You reckon Sharon's a Tory? I don't.
But I don't know. Now you said it. No, I would have gone. She's a Tory. Yeah, I just.
I'm not convinced.
But no, I don't know.
I can see Sharon being quite amused by all the antics of the Lib Dem campaign this year, with bungee jumping off the side of buildings and going water rafting and all that kind of thing, and I think she'd find that quite funny. I think she'd enjoy voting.
Do you know what she could be? Maybe Sharon's a Tory who's just recently changed to Labour.
Maybe. Yeah, because not to get too political, but it's safe to say opinions have shifted for this election. So I
don't think that's being too political.
No, so you could argue that a few characters might have changed their minds.
I was going to say let's not get too political whilst we're
trying to
decide
all
which characters voted who.
Anyway,
what about the Panasars? Come on, what about the Panasars?
Oh,
because I think Suki would have been a Tory, but I now think that she would have switched.
Yeah. Now she's with Eve. I don't think Eve would let her vote Tory.
No, I don't think Eve would. I think Eve would split up with her if she voted Tory.
Yeah.
Because Eve's got to be Labour, right?
I thought either Labour or Green or Lib Dem, I thought, for Eve.
I think, so the middle ground in that would probably be Labour.
Yeah. Although, how about if Suki told Eve she was going to vote for one thing and then voted it privately for another?
She would totally do that.
She would totally do that, wouldn't she? She'd totally
She'd be like, Eve, I'm voting Labour. Of course I am.
Conservative. Yeah. And I reckon some of them will have gone for independence as well. Freddie, I can imagine going independent, to be fair. Freddie, I can imagine going for something like the Monster Raving Loony Party, to be honest with you. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So let us know in the comment section where you think all the characters will have put their X in the little boxes. Who would have spoilt their ballots? Let us know. Let us all know in the comment section below. There you go. So that's a discussion point for you. Right then, let's talk about this week, shall we? Quite the week. Enjoyed it a lot. So let's get on with this week's
Albert Square After Dark.
Right. So as you told us last week, there was a storyline that we completely forgot to mention last week, but we'll start off with it. Well, sorry about that.
Sorry
about that. We're only human. All right. We got excited about the new Mitchells and just forgot to mention this whole storyline. So sorry about that. But we will start off this week. We're talking about Harvey and Maya. which even Jean doesn't know. Even Jean doesn't know how to pronounce it. So if Jean doesn't know how to pronounce it, neither do I. Because I would argue that means they haven't given us a definitive answer on how to pronounce it.
I think you can pronounce it too. I'm saying Maya personally.
I think you can pronounce it however you like. We're in that sort of society, Ray. You know.
Okay.
There you go. So, where we left last week was sort of the confusion from Harvey about what exactly she was about, and we were starting to get sort of ideas that it was all to do with Aaron. We'd sort of theorized about this a little while ago and got a bit of confirmation last week leading into this week. Where Maya basically is implying to Harvey, well, I'm skinned, all right? I'm skinned. I'm completely skinned. Got no money. I'm going to get chucked out my house. It's all going terribly. I need a job. And Harvey is Harvey being the decent mug that he is, to be honest, isn't he? Bless him. He's so simple. He basically says, oh, well, I'll give you some money. That's fine. I'll give you some. How much you need? And she's like, 10 grand. That'd be great. Cheers. Just to pay for my house. That'd be marvellous. Thank you. And so they sort of carry on like this for a little while, and they're in McClunky's, and Maya suddenly goes on for fun one. She does this quite a lot as Maya. She suddenly decides that she needs to leave and just runs away. Does this a lot. So during one of those little bouts, she grabs her bag and drops a letter out of her bag, which he... And why is it whenever anybody in a soap drops something that the other character needs to see, the other character goes completely deaf and can never hear them when they're going, you've dropped this. Hello? They go completely deaf and I think that
every time when, like, you know, there's two who are about to start an affair and they don't hear a door go, it's like, how have you not heard someone walk through front door? It's just like that. Yeah.
You're breathing so passionately into each other's ears that you couldn't hear the door going. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all those soap cliches, isn't it? Do you know the two that drive me crazy? The two that drive me absolutely mad. I'm just going out for some air.
Yeah.
What are you breathing in now, mate? What are you breathing in now? And do you want the other one that drives me absolutely mental? It's not just soap. Dramas all over the world do this. It drives me mad. The line, I made your favourite. No one has ever said that in real life, ever. I made your favourite.
No, you don't actually, do you?
You just say, I've made you a spag bowl. I've made you a pizza. I've made you a lasagna. I've made you cockaliki soup. You know, no one has ever said, I've made you your favourite.
Actually, I've said it to my daughter a couple of times.
Well, you're a fool, then. You need to stop giving us such cliched dialogue.
Said it. So, sorry, Rob, but some of us do say it because some of us cook our family's favourite meals. There you go. I can't get words out. I'm sorry.
That's just because your daughter's so young and it's quite difficult to say ratatouille when you're 2, isn't it?
yeah, that is a favourite.
There you go. Anyway, Harvey discovers this letter on the floor because Myra's kind of implied to him that she lives basically in this council estate, this council flat. She said
to him, she said, I live in a flat on the wrong side of the East End and I'm about to lose that. 1-bed flat, she's implied as well, hasn't she?
Yeah. She basically...
Not even implied, she said it.
Yeah, she's basically slumming it up like Bianca does in Milton Keynes is the impression that she gives, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Then Harvey discovers his letter, and because he's a taxi driver, helpfully, he can take one look at this address and go, well, that's literally next door to Buckingham Palace. So how come... So what are you talking about? So, being a taxi driver, he lies to Jean. There's all sorts of lying about Jean. Now, let's just iron this out, this little crinkle out straight away. Why is he lying to Jean so much at this stage? What's he hiding from her specifically? Because he doesn't know anything at this point.
It was because when Jean found Maya last week, rummaging through the drawers... She decided that she were wrong in, so Harvey were kind of like, all right, well, I'll act like I'm never going to see her again.
So what is it about Maya, do you think, that's actually still kind of piquing Harvey's interest? I don't think that he's had any carnal desires towards her or anything, although I was wondering whether she was starting to feel that way towards him by the end of the week, but we'll come back to that in a minute. But you know what I mean? Like, I
think he just felt sorry for her. I think he's just a nice guy, and he just thought, I can talk to her about Tottenham Hotspurs there, so I'll just lend her 60 quid. Because she obviously needs it. I think he just thought that she was being genuine. I think he was being naive, thought she was being genuine and just wanted to be a nice guy. Obviously, Jean could see straight through it.
Well, you would do if you walk in and see a complete stranger rummaging through your drawers. You've red flag much, you know. You start to get a little bit suspicious, don't you? So Harvey basically takes a taxi and goes to this address. And we turn up and it's like this massive, nice house, which she shouldn't be able to afford if her story is true. So he kind of wanders in, and they do that whole thing where the doors open. Like, I wasn't sure whether...
Sorry, before you get on to that there, something that I've just remembered. Sorry to interrupt you, Rob.
Yes.
When he first met Maya, she was there with loads of shopping bags, like, not just food shopping, like she'd been clothes shopping. So is it even all that true as well? that she's in this much debt. I didn't get that impression that she was lying about it when she's told him true.
I got the impression
she was carrying loads of shopping
when
she first met him.
I got the impression that all of this was a little bit of a setup. Like she deliberately was trying to. I don't know, something she said this week, because he asked her about so what, all of this has been a setup or something like that, and she said that she'd sort of worked stuff out. So I don't know whether that's meant to mean that she was literally standing. She had this plan formed in her head, got a load of stuff in her bags, and was sat there waiting at the corner of the square until he came out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just charged towards him like a bull and throw all her clothes around, or whether there's a little bit of inconsistency there. It's interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
I get the feeling actually that she seems to because there is something I think a little bit sinister about her. So I wouldn't be surprised if she has just planned the whole thing from that
moment. So maybe there weren't any shopping in those bags anyway.
Or nothing that she just been out and bought anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay, right, okay, just clarify.
But he walks up to this castle that she lives in, and the door's kind of ajar, so he kind of pushes it open, walks in, and discovers this man standing there with an eye patch on his face, who we very quickly realise is probably her husband. And then the next episode, we sort of discover exactly what happened here. Now, I wasn't sure, because I had it in my head that, because she told him that he died, hadn't she?
Yeah.
So that was a lie for a start. But the guy is still alive, is literally terrified of leaving the house, doesn't speak a huge amount of English, if any. And Aaron, it would appear, literally beat him to the point where he's lost sight in one eye.
Yeah.
And did she say he's deaf as well?
She said that he can't hear you because it's a trauma response. That's what she said.
Is that a thing?
So, it must be that he can't hear anything. Maybe he's so in his brain from the trauma that he can't actually hear anything.
I get you. I get you. Right. Okay, that makes more sense.
So it's not that he's deaf. It's
I was since when did trauma make you deaf? Is that a thing? I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, right. That makes more sense. Okay, so he's so sort of traumatized and terrified of the world around him. He doesn't
can't hear anything
to much around him.
He's probably dissociating from the real world.
Yeah. All right, that makes more sense. And then she basically reveals everything to him, that Aaron was the one that put him in this situation, that she's decided that, seeing as though Aaron's in prison, he's the one that's going to have to pay for her house, basically. And Harvey,
she's lost her job, she can't work anymore because she's full-time carer for him.
So some of it was true, in a way. But it
something still don't feel quite right about it all. How many kids did she say she had? About 5?
It's something like that. So they've all
none of them are coming back.
They've all buggered off.
All.
Yeah,
they don't come and help out whatsoever.
Do they exist?
I think they exist, but like he said, when she's been meeting up with Harvey, then she's been dashing off. So she's left him on his own all that time. I don't know. Something still don't feel quite right about it.
Feels a bit odd, doesn't it? It feels a bit odd because, surely she can't afford a carer for him or anything like that. So, it's a bit odd. And so basically, Harvey then obviously feels really, really guilty, because what he's realizing for the first time, I think, he's managed to sort of put Aaron out of mind, I think, since he's kind of shipped him away to the police for the attempted bombing. And because I'd kind of forgotten the way that this all played out, and obviously the attack, Harvey did lie for him, because I think he washed his shirt when he came back, and that was all Abdul's blood when he came home. And he sort of gave him an alibi and lied for him, and managed to kind of put that incident out of his mind, I think. And now, because he shipped him in for the police, I think Harvey felt that his conscience was clear, and now he's met this victim of his son's actions, and Harvey is pretty much devastated by that, which you can understand, can't you?
Yeah, I agree. I think he'd just almost totally forgotten about the fact that he'd given him an alibi, and then it were interesting that Maya already knew. But Maya knew, didn't she? Because I thought, she's going to find out that he gave her an alibi.
He told her this. Yeah. So I'm still a bit confused as to what Maya actually knew, as to what she's sort of been able to put together from their conversations. But either way, Maya kind of now knows everything now, and has basically been trying to get money out of Harvey, which I
said that she's exhausted all of the options with friends and family as well. And
I'm not surprised.
It doesn't seem quite.
She's not the most likable of people, really, is she? I'm not surprised she hasn't got many people knocking on her door asking to help. To be honest,
no, but we are seeing her in different circumstances.
That's true.
Moment,
difficult circumstances. Difficult circumstances. Yes.
Yeah.
Why was she so keen on being private on social media, though? Is my first question.
I just
was it
assumed
just
that
to
was so
stop
that
her?
Harvey won't figure out
Harvey?
who she was, the connection to the driver, in
Well,
case
like I
he'd figure
said,
it out.
like
Yeah,
I said a
she
few
didn't
weeks
know
ago,
that, Rob. I know
he
what you're
couldn't even
saying.
work out how to find her on social media. He had to get Tommy to do that. He was
But for
never
all
going to
she
work out how
knows,
to go through all her albums and all that kind of thing and realise that
and
he
go,
would
oh
never have
look,
worked all that out.
that Abdul looks a little bit
Yeah,
like the
he
guy that my son
massively.
attacked. Yeah,
She massively overestimated Harvey's
she
technological
did, but I
abilities.
think that's what it was. Unless there is something else going on,
There you
I
go.
don't know what else there would be.
So meanwhile, Jean, because
Yes.
Freddie has seen them sort of chatting, and he kind of goes back to Jean because she's been making what's this meal, this new meal to put on Jean's cookbook. We've had sausage surprise.
It was beef, creamy beef.
Creamy beef bourguignon or something like that, wasn't it?
No, it was something, yeah.
Spectacular, which honestly sounds quite nice.
Yeah, I know, I got that.
I'd give it a go. I'd give Jean's creamy bourguignon a go.
You can have a beef stroganoff, but I don't think that's what it was that she was making.
I mean, Jean's experimental in the kitchen. I think we discovered that, haven't we? Bless her. Bless her. So because of that, because Freddie is kind of she's planning this big romantic meal, and Freddie goes and says, "Well, I've just seen Harvey chatting to this woman," and then basically describes Maya, and she's like, "Oh,
she had a Tottenham Hotspur's bag.
Oh, that bitch." So. So she starts, obviously, I think understandably, because Kat's been sort of feeding her these seeds that she's not to be trusted. Do you want to keep her away from Harvey? So she starts to come to the impression that Harvey is having this affair. So when Harvey returns home, he's not especially honest with her and sort of lies, and she knows he's lying. There was that quite nice moment where they sort of she closed the kitchen door, she started crying. When he was on his own, Harvey then started crying because of what he's realized his son actually did to someone. So that was quite a nice kind of moment, I thought. But then the next day, Jean's kind of quite cold with him and basically confronts him, and he ends up telling her everything about what has happened, and he's pretty much honest with her at that point, isn't he? And Jean's sort of like, well, that's nice, but I don't see how this is your problem. Like, what can you do? What can you honestly do? And so Harvey decides he needs to go to the police. He wants to confess. Again, I don't see how. And I get it. He's got a guilty conscience and he wants to sort of make things better. But
it's because Maya's claiming that had Aaron got justice for what he'd done, maybe Abdul wouldn't still be the way that he is if he knew that he'd been locked away for it. But because there's no justice been served on this crime, then how is Abdul ever going to get over it?
I mean, he'd still be missing an eye, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would, but I think she's saying had they got
mental
that closure
trauma
at the time, maybe he would have been able to cope better, but he's still, obviously traumatized. Horrible.
So Harvey's sort of like, well, I if I'm not going to do that, then I at least kind of keep paying her money. Jean doesn't want to do that because, in fairness, the Slaters have never been exactly rich, so they can barely afford to kind of put food on the table. But we sort of finished the week with Harvey meeting her in secret and handing over. We're not quite sure. I would guess maybe a couple of £100, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So now, obviously, what she's going to do is basically ring him dry of every coin that she can wring out of him, isn't she?
It seems like it. There's something, I don't know, something still seems to be going on, and I don't know what it would be, but
there is something about her. There's something sinister about her, I think. I think the whole Mad Maya thing may be coming to pass.
Oh, but like you said as well, do you think that she's starting to fall for Harvey a little
bit?
There
was that moment because when they were talking and she said to him, I want to be angry with you. I want to blame you for absolutely everything, but I can't. And the way she was looking at him, there was a little bit of a moment, I thought. Like, I don't think that he would do that. I mean, I've famous last words,
You keep saying this. He's on Albert Square now, Rob.
I know. Anyone can have an affair. And none can move on to Albert Square and have a lesbian affair, couldn't she?
Exactly.
It could happen. It could happen. But at the moment, I don't feel like Harvey's going to go there, but I feel like she's starting to get a little... I think she's starting to get feelings for him, but I think she's also realising quite how easy this is going to be to get money out of him.
I wonder if she's going to try and make life more difficult for Harvey and say, well, that's what you've done to us. And then maybe make Jean believe that he is having an affair when he's not, something like that.
We'll put it past her. Put it past her. Seems to be very much the start of something now, though. A bit of a campaign, I think, to sort of...
Yeah, because you'd think it's the end now. He's found out the truth. He's agreed to give us some money. So that must be the end of it. No way. Like I say, it's the start, isn't it? But what is it the start of?
Time will tell. So, next story is talking about the new Mitchell boys that continued their arrival on the square this week, and the bit of a discussion I want to have about Phil. So we'll start off first of all with just kind of talking about what Teddy's been up to this week. He basically spends his time sort of trying to get his feet under the table. What are we thinking about Teddy this week? Are we still thinking all intentions are good and honourable? I kind of don't think there's anything
I don't.
dark
No,
going
I'm not
on with him
buying
at all.
it. No, I don't buy
would.
him.
Didn't think you
No,
would.
he's too charming. Too charming.
You don't trust
If I come
anybody.
across, no, but I don't. Like, I don't. He's too good to be true. He's too charming. Why is he so charming? Saying all that about his ex-missus, is that all true? Why?
He even took
He's
his
saying,
jumper off his shoulder this week.
Is this charming guy who gets on with everyone, but we're rowing constantly with his missus? Don't know. He seems too good to be true to me.
I don't know. I'm still kind of leaning towards that. He's giving me slightly gritty Mick vibes. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I get that as well, but it just is too.
Thing is, though, Ree, I know for a fact that when Mick first arrived, you would have been like, "Don't believe it. Don't trust him. Look at him walking around his pink dressing gown. Don't believe it. Don't lie to me. I don't believe."
No, I fully bought Mick as soon as he arrived. Honestly, I didn't doubt Mick. No, but this, I don't know. There's just something there. There's something there.
Well, he has
he's a gangster. Telling you,
well, he's a gangster, but maybe he's kind of like a rough diamond.
You can't be a good gangster, Rob.
They exist, I'm sure, somewhere. The ones that are in prison, the ones that aren't in prison are the good ones.
Oh, right, the ones that get good
in skill as well as personality.
Yeah, all right.
Who knows? Anyway, so Teddy's kind of getting his feet under the table a little bit this week, and he's starting to sort of make some friends around the square. You know, Billy's kind of quite liking him, and somebody else has kind of piqued the interest of is Sharon. Now let's talk about Sharon. And her
wig.
Honest to God, she looked like something out. She looked like something out of Hairspray this week, didn't she? She looked amazing. She looked like she was about to burst into Good Morning Baltimore at any moment. I loved it.
What is it? Why is she wearing a wig?
That was Sharon. I don't think it was a wig. I think it was just like she's gone mad.
It's 100% a wig.
It's not a wig. Well, it might be a wig. It might be the Letitia Dean.
I'm really sorry to Letitia Dean if it's not a wig, and I'm here like that's a right wig, but it really looked like a wig. It was like, weren't it?
I mean,
the ones that they all wore when they were pretending to be Sharon for a hen night.
She put one of them on. She had a bad hair day. So you reckon that she'd had a bad hair day, discovered one of those wigs when they were all pretending to be her, discarded in the square, and thought that'll do. I'll stick that on me.
What if she's going brunette? What if it's that she's going brunette and they don't want to show us right now?
One day they're just going to discover Letitia Dean with a brown bob.
Do you know what? I think they should still be in a brunette, actually.
Or a mullet. Or a redhead.
Not a mullet.
She's tried to dye her hair. It's gone ginger, so they stuck a wig on her head. Who knows? Possibly. But I tell you what, I thought she looked fabulous. And it certainly piqued Teddy's interest. The zhoosh. That's what we talk about, Ree. Well, me and you have discussed hair in the past. That's zhoosh.
It's volume. It's voluminous. Rob. Zhoosh. Yes.
Anyway, so Teddy and Sharon seem to be a thing now, doesn't it? They are very much kind of flirting. Because at first, Sharon is all being very sort of ice queen around him because he's made a mess in the gym when they were having some drink thing, left a mess in the gym. She's furious. Basically, and he's like, "All right, darling, don't call me."
I love her being furious.
Yeah. Oh, you're sexy when you're angry, darling. Whoa.
And then I love that she said, "Don't call me darling." So then he called her babe,
which is, I think, which I'd argue is 10 times worse than darling.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd argue. She didn't bother about babe. Don't bother about babe. What? Because he called her babe. Yeah. Mick used to call people babe all the time.
That is true. Yeah, but he can get away with it. That's
so did Frank. Frank used to call people babe all the time as well. Are you like Frank?
Oh, okay. So they're getting. Yeah. Anyway, I'm still unsure. But
yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. But all of this, I would say, is. I mean, just briefly before I move on to that. Stevie, we're still not quite sure what his secret is at this point. There's still something going on with Stevie that we're still yet to discover.
Harry say what did he call him? A bigot or something? Like he meant to say bigamist, didn't he?
A bigger-bottomist or something like that. Yeah. This is all something to do with Billy's mum, isn't it? This is something. So we're about to discover something.
Or maybe he was married to Teddy's mum and then and Billy's mum was the affair, something like that. I don't know.
Something's gone on there, hasn't it? Yeah, it's something to do with Billy's mum. And I was sort of caught by the fact that this may be completely irrelevant, but there was a picture of Peggy on the wall and Teddy noticed her at one point.
Yes, actually.
Something.
No, don't
No.
tell me.
I know,
no.
I don't want that either. I'm not putting it out there in terms
No.
of something that they should grasp onto, and I don't think they would, actually. I don't think this is the sort of team that would suddenly retcon
No, because
Peggy's not
wouldn't
their
have had
mum or
those
anything.
secret
No.
kids and not said it. That would
Well,
not be Peggy.
do you not think? No, but I mean, do you think that there's a chance that Peggy might have had an affair at some point? Bearing in mind the relationship she was in with Eric, and she very and,
I mean, she got with Archie. She got with Archie. Get in with his brother a few years later,
and
didn't she?
Let's be fair, the Mitchell flashback still remains one of my favorite episodes of EastEnders ever.
100%.
The Mitchell flashback kind of implied that was very much on the cards all the way back then as well. Like there was a bit of a flirtation going on there. You could tell that Peggy was somewhat tempted at the time. So what if Stevie had that little bit more charm? She just had a really bad time with Eric. And
maybe Phil saw them a bit like Nugget seeing.
Are they going to throw something crazy like Peggy? Are they going to throw something crazy out like Peggy was Billy's mum or something insane like that?
Or that Steve is Phil's dad?
I feel like that would be too much of a retcon because Eric being Phil's dad has very much influenced Phil's character a lot over the years and is sort of
don't mean it's his real dad. Maybe Peggy didn't know that it were really Stevie. But then how would Teddy know that? Like, we're basing it on the fact that Teddy saw this photo. How would he know that?
Exactly.
I don't know. There is something though. Why did he
something going on?
It
something going on. Watch this space, I think. However, what I really want to discuss with all of this, because that's sort of still going on. We got to know a bit more about Teddy, a bit more about Harry. Didn't see Barney this week, which I thought was a shame.
I thought that
where was Barney throughout the week? So hopefully we'll get to see him again next week.
He was at the library, Rob.
He was at the library reading a book.
Yeah.
That in the corner. He was having a lovely time. So all that's going on. But what I want to discuss is Phil.
What? Because
yes. So, right, okay, so Ree's saying to me, basically, I've decided that Phil is heading towards a loneliness storyline. Ree has said that she told me that this was going to happen in terms of something that she'd decided, she'd worked out as well. But I have no memory of this whatsoever.
Rob has no recollection. It's all a brand new theory that Rob's come up with himself, that Phil's going to be lonely. I never said it. It's not
my fault that you don't say this sort of stuff on camera, because I know for a fact that after I said you don't remember it, you would have gone through all previous episodes.
I did go through it, and I couldn't find it.
Tooth comb, you would have gone through those episodes like Sherlock Holmes.
So yeah, I obviously said it off camera.
Yeah.
Anywho,
we could both claim it. We could both claim it.
We've both come to this
the conclusion that Phil is heading towards a loneliness storyline, and I think the evidence is very much there. You know, so Ben's gone. Callum couldn't care less about him. You know, his kids. Louise is gone.
Kat, his wife,
he's split with Kat. Sharon's keeping him at arm's length, and now has sort of got her eyes on Teddy as well.
Phil and Teddy actually got on this week, and it seemed like Phil belonged to him.
What I got the impression from with Teddy this week was that actually he is sort of becoming the bloke that Phil wishes he could be. Like he has got. The thing is with Phil, the thing is with Phil, even back in the 90s when Grant was the psycho and Phil was the more sort of quiet, sensible one, even then Phil didn't exactly possess bucket loads of charm, did he?
No.
And Teddy has got that in spades.
He's certainly not a charmer, Phil.
He's not a charmer, is Phil?
No.
People go for Phil because
they're all right with ladies.
He does do all right with the ladies, and apparently he's an absolute beast in the bedroom, as we've been told.
I think that's what it is. We're just got around about that.
His reputation precedes him. His reputation precedes him. But Teddy is just kind of dripping with charm, and seems to be quite easily being able to get people to like him. So I think that we're sort of heading to a moment where, especially now that Teddy and Sharon are maybe starting to be a thing soon. So soon after Sharon kissed Phil, by the way, as well. So that's going to put his nose out of joint. And
I'm not going to lie. I thought Sharon might go for Harry, at first, because he was like
just a Phil and that Keanu role.
Keanu too.
He is a little bit like Keanu, isn't he?
He is very Keanu.
He's very Keanu, isn't he? So let's be fair. Nothing's off the table for Sharon. Maybe she'll start sleeping with Teddy and then go. She'll do a Cindy. Start sleeping with one and then go sleep with the son. Who knows?
No, that's not very Sharon. That's not Sharon. That.
We'll see. But this is what I'm saying. So Louise is gone. Ben's gone. Denise isn't really that keen on Phil spending any time with Raymond.
Yeah, Sharon's there, to be fair.
He does, but Phil is but only because Denise needed somewhere to live, and I can't imagine that lasting for much longer. No, and even Sharon is keeping him at arm's length from Albie. So he's slowly starting to get the impression, I think, that people just don't want him around. And it's interesting, I think, that after all the things that Phil has done over the years to sort of be the king of the pack, it's actually pushing people away. And he's starting to realise that. This new family of Billies is turning up on the square. Now, as troublesome as the relationship that Phil and Billy have had over the years, Billy has always been there as a sort of constant, and you don't realise what you've got until it's missing, do you? No. So now this new family has arrived for Billy. Phil, I think, is going to start feeling redundant. And I have to say, I think this is a genius storyline to give Phil if this is what is happening, because he is the very last person on the entire show, in the show's history, that would say how he is feeling to anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Sharon couldn't get this out of him, I don't think, at first. You'd have to pull it out with an articulated lorry to get this out of him.
Cat might.
Well,
but it take a lot.
No, I think if Sharon can't, Cat wouldn't be able to.
See, I'm not sure. I think Cat...
he would always be closer to Sharon than Cat, and that was the whole basis of their marriage.
I know, but I still think that Cat can get some stuff out of him, even if Sharon couldn't. I mean, especially if Sharon does get with Teddy, he's definitely not going to admit to anything then, is he?
No. So I think this might be where this is heading. And I think this is such a clever storyline to give Phil, because this isn't gangstery. This isn't a typical Phil storyline. This is actually really delving into Phil's emotional sort of side and how he's feeling about himself and how he feels about his role in life, and him sort of dealing with his age and sort of feeling about how, because he can't do the gangstery stuff anymore. He knows that deep down.
I mean, you were saying about him wanting to be, that the head of the family and all of that stuff, and how he behaves. Did you notice when it kind of goes into what we're going to talk about, but when he was talking to Ravi later on in the week and he was trying to give him the advice, do you think he was trying to copy Teddy a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, I think this is Phil just basically trying to have a use, even if it boils down to giving random people advice. Like, it's not a role he particularly likes, but this is the guy that is used to being someone that people fear, someone that people respect throughout the square, someone that people will go to when they're absolutely desperate for something and he needs a favour off somebody. And I feel like slowly but surely Phil is starting to feel redundant in that respect. So I'm really, really interested to see if this is where it's going, and I really hope it is. Because actually, can you tell me the last time that Phil had a storyline of his own? It's weird to think, but Phil has been a supporting character for about a decade now. Probably the last time he had a storyline of his own was when his liver was packing up, and that was about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He's very much a supporting character. He's a strong supporting character. Still, no arguments there, but it's been so long since he's had his own storyline to deal with. So if this is what's happening, I'm excited.
I think it is.
Let us know in the comment section below what you think about that. Do you think this might be where it's going? Are we overreading anything, or do you think this might be where it's going? And where are you with Teddy?
Are we both totally wrong?
Are we both team wrong? I mean, let's be fair. It won't be the first time that's happened in this era. What Flanders is very, very good at doing is subverting where we think a storyline's going to go. But at the moment, I think this is heading straight towards that sort of thing. So I'm very, very excited. Let us know in the comment section what you think. Right then, ladies and gents. Big storyline of the week now was Nugget and Priya and Nish. So, biggest storyline of the week was the fallout from the steroid abuse from the boys, and then talking about Priya and Nish. Ooh. So, as we left it this week, the boxing tournament was approaching, and Zach, with his suspicions about the boy, well, not suspicions, he knows the boys are taking roids, and they're juicing up and all that kind of thing. Strongly suspects. And so he decides to put on the wall of the boxing den that all participants must take a drugs test before they're allowed to enter. And Denzel sees this mandatory drug test, and Denzel sees this and runs away. Now Denzel is safe from this because he obviously was very ill last week. He weighed himself. He wasn't even allowed to get weighed because he was just throwing up and just wasn't well. So he doesn't have to take the test.
Nugget, you mean Nugget?
Yeah, Nugget.
Denzel. Yeah.
Starting to flag, Rick. He's been up all night with the election. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I'm here. I'll try and pay attention.
Steer the rudder, Ray. Steer the rudder. So this starts to kind of snowball from here on in because Denzel sort of is missing. Don't really find out where Denzel went really, but he's just sort of gone off somewhere and sort of panicking about the fact that he can't now take part in this, despite the fact that his family has all gone down to support him. So he sort of stays in the wings for a bit. Nugget goes to look for him, and then the effects of the steroids really start to take an effect, and he ends up collapsing in the square. Meanwhile, Priya.
Indeed, Rob.
Meanwhile, Janine the second, as I am insisting, right?
So Janine the second.
So
Janine the second.
So
I love it.
And I am here for it. Like Priya was delicious this week. Oh, I thought she was spectacular.
Yes.
I love Priya. I adore Priya. I want her to be queen.
She is queen.
She is queen.
She's queen.
So she gets an idea because Ravi is basically people are making her feel like crap this week, aren't they?
Aren't they? I felt really sorry for her, actually.
She was getting it from one end because in all honesty, this is quite a Janine trait as well, that she starts trying and then doesn't get anything but shit back up of the people.
And then everyone's just having a go at her left, right, and centre.
And she's like, well, screw it then. I'll do it my way then. So she decides to go to Nish and say, so, you know how you're dying and everything. Your chances are you're a bit lonely. So, for the right price, I'll let you die with a smile on your face, effectively. Now, Nish at first is a bit like, don't be ridiculous.
Appalled. Outraged at the suggestion.
Disgusted.
A respectable man of the community.
Respectable businessman. Yes. But then he sees Suki and Eve, who have just got back from Pride. Suki and Eve at Pride.
Talk about rubbing it in his face.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. My mind wandered then. But yeah. So literally, he's literally seeing these two lovebirds, including the woman that, let's be honest, he still loves in his own twisted way. He still loves Suki, and so to see basically the woman is. Would it be fair to say in his own twisted way, Suki's the love of his life?
100%. Yeah, she is the love of his life, definitely.
So to see the love of his life, clearly quite delighted with somebody else, let alone another woman, it kind of pushes him to go, do you know what? Screw it. Literally. So Priya hasn't given up by this point, by the way. She's dressed up to go to the boxing den. She's dressed up as some sort of sexy cheerleader. Did you notice? She was ready for it.
Yeah, she had the t-shirt.
Yeah, she was all ready for it.
Priya's style, though, to be fair.
It is. She does wear lots of these sorts of clothing, but I do like the fact that
mini skirts and stuff. Yeah,
she does. But I do like the fact that Priya dresses for any occasion. So if Nish decides to change her mind, I also happen to be ready.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Got you, Nish.
So she's totally up for it because I think she's worked out. Oh no, I can make this happen. You might say you doth protest too much, sir. I can get this to happen. And so Nish goes to her and says, "All right then, let's do this.
Well, then. Show us what you're made of
for the right price. Let's do this. Come on then, if you're hard. Let's do this." And so it's now. So they're in the living room and they start kissing. Now, I just want to say how amazing Priya was at this moment. This is a woman who sort of character I love, who is prepared to do anything in order to survive. She's devious,
right?
She's bitchy, she's camp as a row of tents, and I love her.
Can I just clarify something though? Because while she's doing all this, right, I'm thinking, what a good mother she is, right? She's willing. No. Hear me out.
Go on then.
Hear me out.
Sell this one to me. Yeah, go on.
No, I mean, because she keeps saying she's doing it for her kids. That's her excuse.
Doing it for the kids.
Right. And she's saying, I want to give my kids a secure future. I don't want them to want for anything.
Yes.
And I was like, do you know what? At least she's doing it for her kids, right? Not because she wants to design a handbag. But then I was thinking, but weren't Nish going to leave it to him anyway? So if anything, isn't she taking the money from her kids? I don't understand the logic there.
Yeah, I don't know how much Priya knows about that, though. I think she just sort of wants... I mean, let's be fair.
Is it not assumed? Is it not assumed that he'd be leaving his grandkids something?
I think she wanted a bit of the cut. Because he made it quite clear to her that she wasn't she personally wasn't getting any of it. Of course she does. Of course she does. She wants her kids to be fine. I'm not denying that for a second. But there's other ways of doing that. She could go out and get another job. She doesn't have to sleep with them. She doesn't have to sleep with
Rob,
their granddad.
Yeah, but sex work is work at the end of the day. That is essentially what she's.
It's not legal. If it's not legal.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that we can discuss the ethics of it and the.
Okay. But I mean, if I'm being generous, I can see like she has the kids at the forefront of her mind. I'm not denying that.
Look
but there's
at
ways and
Stacey and
means.
Secret Cam.
Yes, that's legal. That is legal.
Right. Well, okay.
I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. But
I'm just saying that if it is for a kid's
if it is for the good of the kids,
and that's what. Yeah.
Yes. But then I mean, how desperate is Nish at this moment? Really, like
I know, right?
That's a sad, pathetic human being, right? Really is. I mean,
morally,
if anything,
like your kid's granddad.
Yeah.
And the mother of your grandchildren. That's
but the thing is, though, but can I just say, though, we say all this about Priya. As well as that, I would expect her to have, when they're faking a romance, and what you'll occasionally, like when Janine and Barry. By the way, Janine and Barry, that happened in the same house. Just throwing that parallel out there. But Janine, it was quite clear that she found Barry absolutely repulsive. And we didn't get any of that from Priya at the start of this, I didn't think.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, let's go. I'm fine with this. Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, sounds great. I love it. So they start kissing. And what I loved, I didn't see this coming at all. I didn't see the connection of what was going to happen here whatsoever until it happened. Nugget sees them kissing through the window.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought the Priya and Nish thing was going to go on and on and on. I thought this was going to be something that they're going to keep going for a few weeks until a big reveal happened. But that's not how it played out. Nugget sees them and it draws him to collapse. Which I can understand.
Like, oh no, I was like, oh, he's having an heart attack now.
Yeah,
no wonder he's just seeing his granddad and his mum at it.
And his mum at it. I could understand. I could perfectly understand.
Well, to be fair, I did think like he was heading towards the house, and instead of going to the house because he'd seen that, he walked away and then collapsed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he might have made it to the door to at least have knocked, and they might have heard him.
They wouldn't have heard him, as we discussed, though, Ree. They wouldn't have heard him. They wouldn't have heard him. He could have stumbled in with a one-man band attached around his neck, and they still wouldn't have heard him. No, so the way they did it was much better.
Yeah,
much less annoying. Right. Yeah, perfect. So Nuggets collapsed in the square, and on the way back from the boxing match, Ravi and Avani and Vinny find him, and he's rushed to hospital. Now they go across to the house just in time to stop Nish and Priya sleeping together.
Yes.
But note, they did not sleep together. Because they're about to. There's no doubt. Priya's working. Priya's at work. Priya was in the middle of a shift. Priya was in the middle of a shift. She's quite happy. Off she goes upstairs. But they burst into the house and managed just to stop it happening just in time, and nobody's any the wiser at that moment. They take Nugget to hospital, and it turns out that the roids that he's taken have given him another. I wish they'd stop giving characters ailments that I can't pronounce. It's something to do with his kid. Something I haven't even got it written down, but something to do with his kidneys. Okay, something bad that he needs to have a dialysis. Something like that. Now Ravi and Zach have had another conversation, and Ravi is now like, "Oh God, he's on steroids, isn't he? Yeah, this has happened." So he kind of has a little word with the nurse, going, "I think he might be on steroids. If that's relevant, feel like it might be. You need to know that. Probably should know about that." And as it turns out, it is very, very relevant, and that is why Nugget is now in hospital. And the nurse, very helpfully, reveals in front of the entire family, you know that thing that you told me earlier about him
tried to be really discreet about.
That you tried to be really quiet about. Yeah, I didn't think that you wanted to not keep that for the rest of the family. I'll just say it in front of everyone now. Yeah. What is it with the staff at Walford General? They always do this. They need some people training at Walford General, I would argue. They really, really do. All that. The Priya, rightly furious that Ravi just kept this from her.
Especially after they just had a heart-to-heart as well, when they were talking to each other, and then they go in and she goes, "Seeing you."
She's still in love with Ravi, right? Of course she is. Of course she is. And he's still in love with her as well.
Yeah, I think they're the mother and father of each other's children. I don't know whether they were still in love, but there's definitely something there, 100%. And if they could try and make it work, I think they would have both been very willing to, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Brought them together.
Worth noting before we continue, I forgot to mention, very, very excited and very, very pleased to hear Nugget got his first duff this week.
Oh, we did get his first duff.
Yay!
Well done, Nugget. Well
And
done.
actually,
well deserved.
On the following episode, Priya got 2 duffs this
Yeah,
week.
I thought that Priya got. Yeah.
Priya is apparently, I got excited about this on Twitter, and you know what our fans are like. As soon as I say something wrong, they're there correcting me.
Good. So they should.
Priya apparently shared a duff with Nish at some other point, but this was her first solo duff. And she got 2 other buggers this week, so I'm delighted for Nugget and Priya getting their first duffs. Hurrah! That's what we like to see. So yeah, that's all not good. Priya's furious, but then throughout all of this, I can't believe he's doing this because Nish has said to him, right, well, this arrangement that him and Priya have come to is like, yeah, all right, then let's do this, but I want you fully. You're my girlfriend.
We're being
now.
Public about it.
Yeah, you're my girlfriend now till the day I die. And Priya's like, yeah, right, that's fine.
He wants to do it to annoy Suki above anything
of course
else,
he does, and she knows that. She knows that because she was that's what he was. She was half winding him up about that. She knows what she's doing.
But to me, and not one of you's thinking about Ravi, Nugget, and Avani and all of this, including Priya. This good mum that I keep saying.
This good mum, great mum Priya, yeah. Mary Poppins over there, yeah.
No, it's
Bless her. I mean, her heart's in the right place, but God knows where her brain is.
Where else is? Yeah,
where else is exactly. And all through this, despite the fact that their son, like his grandson, is in intensive care in hospital.
Oh, yeah.
All over Priya, like putting his arms all over her. He's so creepy.
Like, how does he think that she's genuinely interested, and why are you trying to do that in this moment? Like, you know what the arrangement
It's like
is.
she was. It's like he was testing
that she'd
her.
never go for you unless she were trying to get some money out of you. So why are you doing it? Yeah,
it's like he was testing her. Like saying, how serious are you about this? I'm going to start being really inappropriate. I mean, Navin Chowdhury plays Nish so well because he's such a creepy character. Yeah. He's such a creep. Ugh.
And see, I took it as he's such a lonely, desperate guy that he actually thinks that she is interested in him because she acted it so well, and that's what he was doing. Maybe. He was genuinely trying to give her comfort, and it weren't a test. He would just thought, oh, well, you're mine now, aren't you? So, I need to give you some comfort.
I mean, the thing is with Nish, what we know about his type is that he likes fiery women. Because the thing is about fiery women, they're more fun to bring down to.
Yes, exactly.
So Priya is actually right up. Yeah. So Priya's up there with the sort of people that, because I think Suki has even sort of looked at Priya and thought, yeah, I can see me and you for sure. Because it feels like once upon a time, this is not something that would have been beyond Suki's capabilities to do, to be honest. So I can I can see.
Well, she tried it with what's his face, Ranveer, essentially, didn't she?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, so
for different reasons, but yeah.
Priya, rightly, I think at this point, it's like get off, you creepy old man. No, thank you. My son might die. Can we not do this right now? I can't do this.
Can we put this on hold?
Yeah, at least on hold. Like, not unreasonable. Let's be fair here. Given the arrangement, it's not unreasonable. But Nish doesn't like that whatsoever, does he? No.
Well, then they end up having that massive row about it, don't they, at the hospital, where Priya really gives it to him. And I thought, you're playing with fire now, Priya.
Isn't she?
You know the kind of guy that Nish is. This is not going to end well for you, love.
She's been playing with fire with Nish ever since she arrived, though, hasn't she? Like this, I think, was always going to happen at some point. But this is again Janine type trait. She ain't afraid. She ain't scared. And what?
Yeah.
Love her. And you kind of got the impression at that point that Nish was going to be the one to sort of reveal it to everybody. Like, oh, you're going to make me feel small and stupid, as are you? Oh, no, you don't get to do that to Nish Panasar, so I'm going to tell everybody.
Well,
not how it played out.
He also saw her and Ravi have that little moment in the corridor as well, didn't he? Where they had a little a kiss on the cheek that they had.
Yeah, just tenderness. Just a tender moment, So that all plays out. And the way that this part of the storyline ends is they get home and Nish tells Ravi.
The bags.
Nish
has packed.
No.
Sorry, I'm skipping ahead.
Nish decides to tell Ravi exactly what happened. Yeah.
Ravi.
False coughing. Yeah. And tells him,
I can't walk into my house, but I've managed to sleep with your ex missus.
She knackered me out. Knackered me out. I can't even walk now.
Can you help me up?
Can you help me up?
It was all that sex I had with Priya
all that
last night. Oh,
she has broken me. I can't walk. I need you to help me into the house. And by the way, I had sex with Priya. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
And Ravi does not react well to this. Ravi spends most of this week very, very cross at various things, and this doesn't improve his temper whatsoever.
And who is he cross with? Who is he cross with, though?
Well, exactly. But then bear in mind, Ravi is no, because Ravi is on Nish's side. Because I was trying to remember who was double crossing Nish at this point, but it's Vinny who's double. It's Vinny and Suki. So Ravi's on Nish's side.
I'm sorry, but would it not be fair enough for Ravi to turn against them both and go, and you, my dad, go in with the mother of my children? But why is he not bothered about Nish?
He hasn't.
Why is he still feeling sorry for him? Like,
she's worn you out,
hasn't she, Dad? She's worn you out. All that teasing she's done all this past week. You poor sod. No wonder you couldn't say no.
Yeah, exactly. It's always the woman's fault, isn't it, Ray? Exactly.
That's what I mean. Yeah, of course it is. Always.
We don't know how he's going to react with Nish next week. I can't imagine he is completely and utterly fine with Nish after this next week. I will struggle to believe if he is. I'll struggle to believe that if that's how it plays out, but we'll wait and see.
Same.
But basically, he doesn't chuck Priya out because it's not his house. Not even Ravi can chuck somebody out of the house that he doesn't live in. So he decides, these aren't your bags; these are Avani's bags. Avani, hearing all of this, witnessed it all, is disgusted and walks out. And bearing in mind also, by the way, that Nugget told Nish that he saw what he saw as well. So I feel like that's going to sort of play into something a little bit more, like, because nobody else knows that Nugget saw it as well. So I wonder if that's going to be the thing that saves the situation.
I thought Nish said no.
Did he?
Priya knows though.
Priya,
told Priya.
Yes, he told Priya. So yeah, I feel like Nugget knowing.
I thought that was also why Nish decided to tell Ravi, because he's like, right, well, I need to take control of the situation. Yeah.
I don't know.
Or Priya put their spin on it or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Nugget knowing is going to be relevant later on as well. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how all that plays out and how all that gets rectified. But yeah, moral of the story: I love Priya. So Priya was amazing this week. Brilliant. So meanwhile, with the Roid stuff, all of that is still going on.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Still got Denzel to discuss in all this. Yeah. So Nugget's fine, by the way. I think we're led to believe. I don't think Nugget's going to die or anything like that.
They're saying that he might go on dialysis, but I don't even think that they'll go that far.
People have come out of worse in Albert Square. It's Warford General.
Exactly.
You could walk into that place decapitated and you'd be all right in a week.
Cured next week.
Yeah, be all right
next week.
So Nugget will be fine. So Denzel, meanwhile, after he ran away because of a drugs test, the family are all there, and he sort of turns up later, doesn't he? And because they sort of need it to happen quickly, despite the fact that Zach knows full well that he doesn't want Denzel in the ring. He's got too many of the family around going, oh, go on, go on, Denzel, ready to go. So he does end up letting Denzel into the ring. Denzel wins the fight, and Denzel's a champion.
How would they have done the mandatory testing? Because I was like, why is Denzel then turned up?
Urine.
Right, probably. Because I was like, well, why is Denzel then turned up? Is he not scared that they'll still make him do the testing, or does he know that they've finished doing the testing?
I mean, do you know what? Part of me actually thinks that Zach wasn't even going to do it, but he just put that up there to sort of
that's what I did
clarify his own suspicion. Because I don't know how long the test result. I don't know how long the test results take. Like if you wee on a stick and it says on steroids, I don't think that's quite how it works.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
So yeah,
I would have thought it'd have been blood tests that you'd need.
Which again, you can't. You're not going to get the results of that in the next 5 minutes, are you? So yeah. But either way, Denzel ends up going into the ring. I think he's literally just taken the steroid as well, hadn't he? So he
took one just before he goes.
Honestly, he takes like Popeye as spinach. Like takes like and then beats up somebody in the ring and everything's fine and he's a champion. But then he discovers about what happened to Nuggets, and then it all basically free falls from there because Zach tells Ravi, and I don't know what Zach thought was going to happen here. He takes Denzel to the hospital and goes, right, there's Ravi. You kind of need to tell him. What was he thinking was going to happen at this point?
I don't know.
I feel like that.
I don't think he thought the police would be stood behind him.
No, that's true.
Moment for Ravi to
That's true. 2 policemen, by the way, that blatantly couldn't be asked to be there. They had much better things to be getting on with.
God, some kids on Roid again now. Often do we come across this these days? Yeah.
And so they're basically trying to get it all out of Nugget about where he's got these drugs from. Nugget is keeping stum. And then Zach turns up with basically exhibit A of where the drugs came from. And Denzel gets arrested, taken away. Isn't charged, because I think he tells them the truth. He basically gives them the reasons as to why it all happened, and basically they sort of work out that they can't really charge him for dealing because he basically got him off the internet and he just then gave them to Nugget. I don't even think Nugget paid any money for them, did he?
No, I'm not sure, but yeah, I think
some technicality.
They're both kids as well.
Yeah.
Because you know what? To be fair, when Denzel were explaining it, and he were like, "Well, I just bought them online. I didn't think there were anything illegal." I think even me and you at first were like, "Is it illegal if he's just buying them online?" Like, so you could believe him that he genuinely were like buying them really naively, thinking, "Well, they must be fine because otherwise you wouldn't be able to just buy them online, would you?"
So Denzel, the thing is, I think this is very much the end of Nugget's journey with steroids. I think this is going to be enough for him to go, okay, I guess I won't do that again then. But Denzel, I'm not so sure. Like, yes, all of this has kind of come out. Everybody knows about it. And he has that gorgeous moment with Howie at the end of the week. Yes, all of that's happened. We'll get to that in a second. But I'm just wondering whether it's enough with Denzel. Because I think it makes him feel like a big man. And I think he quite enjoys it.
He's probably addicted, let's be real. And it's that easy for him to get hold of. How is anyone actually going to stop him as well?
You're just ordering them online.
Took the current ones, but like,
what are you going to
prove it.
I'm not entirely convinced that this is the end of Denzel's journey with them, to be honest. I think we might get a bit more out of this. I mean, he's been an arsehole still. He kind of comes home. Is all right for a bit when he realizes that everyone thinks he's a champion. But then Howie has discovered what's gone on and says, what we're also happy about, he's on steroids. So they end up having a massive row, which makes one of those rows that literally makes you want to reach for the screen and throttle Denzel because he's just horrible.
To be fair, I agreed with Howie as well because like Landy and Patrick and Kim are all like, "Wait, he's back." It's like he's been at a police station, like getting done for taking drugs.
And his best mate nearly died.
Denzel. It's like,
Patrick's popping open the rum.
yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Let's get him home. He's like, so they have a row. They kind of come back, but then I think what happens then is Denzel and Nugget sort of have this moment. The Nugget and Amy thing, by the way, that gets sorted that week.
I'd forgotten about that until this week.
Amy is the bigger person in a lot of this is what happens when you hang around with teenage boys. You need to learn to be the bigger person in a lot of situations, I think, don't you? You just become the Hermione of the group, don't you? You really do.
She is a Hermione.
She's the Hermione.
She really is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think she's just like she was just genuinely concerned for Nugget though as well, and then she's obviously pieced together that it's Denzel who's had something to do with it all.
Which was sweet, I thought. I thought Amy really shone this week, actually, with that little... It wasn't a huge moment, but it was a nice moment for her character, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was nice.
And I thought Denzel reacted very well to Nugget's
I thought he was going to go... I thought he was going to go absolutely apeshit when he found that out.
So did I. And then
I thought he was going to rip that ward apart when he found that out.
Well, should we call it evens? Because I might have... made your kidneys fail and you tried to kiss my girlfriend. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Soz. All right, sweet. Safe, bro. Yeah. And then he kind of goes home and him and Howie have a really, really, really nice scene together. I would go as far to say Howie's best scene so far.
Yeah, 100%. I really enjoyed Howie this week.
Yeah.
I liked Howie because like he shouted like you would as a parent to a teenager. But I was so surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I was half expecting Howie to punch Denzel the way that
so did I. So did I.
Is Howie gonna lose it here?
But then again, Howie was the bigger man. Howie was the bigger man. And
he was the man.
He was the man. He was the man. And that was the message of the scene, wasn't it? I'm the man because I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm going to show you that despite the fact that you're an arsehole, I still love you.
Yeah.
And then pulls him into that really nice, gorgeous scene. Really, really nice scene. Really nice. Howie's best scene by far since he arrived, I think.
100%.
100%. But yeah, even so, kind of Denzel dissolves into tears, and it's a really sweet moment for the both of them. Actually, I thought they both. It was a really well done scene.
Denzel as well, crying.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not convinced this is the end of Denzel's journey with steroids.
You can't though. Surely you can't just stop taking them because that's what he said. So. Isn't it? It's like, well, it's all done.
It's not that easy.
Took them off, mate. I've stopped taking them. I'm not going to take them again.
Because the difference between him and Nugget is that Nugget's been terrified of taking these things ever since the start, really, hasn't he? Like he's taken like the odd couple, and I would argue that even the mood swings haven't really affected Nugget that badly because the way that Tommy is these days, I can imagine anyone would want to fly at him. You know?
It was sure Tommy's not been getting some as well.
Tommy's turning into a little shite at the moment, isn't he? So watch that space with Tommy.
He's great there, Tommy.
You know who Tommy's reminding me of? You know Simon Barlow? when he used to be well cute on Corrie, and now he's turned into a young tearaway. It's a Simon Barlow type situation with Tommy.
I dare say that he's worse there, Tommy. I've got to say.
I think so. I think so. Because Simon Barlow, mind you, Peter Barlow and Phil Mitchell, both alcoholics. I was just going to
say, you had the
both thugs. Who's got the Corrie and EastEnders fans? Tell us who's got the worst father figure in their life in that regard. How does that work then? But yeah, I think that Nugget is sort of like Nugget will very much be done with them at this point. Very, very much be done. And I think if he wants to continue this fitness thing, it will be a nice thing for him to continue the thing that he had with Ravi last week.
He's asked him repeatedly, Nugget has asked Denzel if he had any side effects, and he just keeps saying no. But we know that he's had.
This is the reason. This is the reason. He's had more than one side effect as Denzel, which I would argue is probably half the reason why he's in a mood all the time.
Possibly. Yeah, no, but so this is the thing. Will that be enough for him to go, actually, I have had a side effect. Should I stop now?
Well, I've had two. I am in a bad temper all the time. I want to punch things and I can't get an erection. So maybe.
Is he going to admit that? Because they do keep mentioning that. It still keeps coming up.
It's a thing, isn't it?
Unlike something else.
Why?
So is there a reason? Is there a reason for that?
I think so. I think it's some. Well, I think the fact that you're right, they do keep mentioning it, and it's something that Denzel is clearly very much hiding. So I think that is something that he's.
It's not done yet.
It's not
Denzel.
done.
It's not
done. It's not done.
Wow, what a week, Rob!
What a week.
Gold star with all the steroid stuff. Oh, gold star. Okay.
Gold star.
Well, I'm going to give it to Howie because I know who you're going to give it to.
Thank you.
Because I was tempted to give it to. Yeah, so I'm being nice.
But do you know what? Actually, what was going to happen? Because I thought that you were going to give it to Priya and I was going to give it to Howie. So there we go.
Oh, perfect.
There you go. So Priya and Howie for Gold
Best
Stars
Parents
this week.
of the Week awards.
Parents of the Week, right? Put them together. They'd be a golden couple. They would. Howie and Priya together. Sorted. Yeah, there we go. So Howie and Priya, Gold Stars of the Week. Let us know who your Gold Stars to belong to. Now then, ladies and gents, to say we've had some news this week would be an understatement. So, two pieces of news to discuss this week, and they're both whoppers. So, first of all, it was announced this week a storyline for Anna. Now, I would say actually, all of this news, spoiler alert, spoiler siren, spoiler siren, spoiler siren.
No, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
To be honest, the rest of the podcast is going to be talking about these two pieces of news that are both quite spoilery. So if you don't like spoilers, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Are they gone? Are they gone, Ree? Just close the door behind you.
They've gone.
Cheers.
They've gone.
They've gone. Right. Okay. So, EastEnders is working on a new storyline that will see Anna Knight get her drink spiked. Anna is set to find herself in danger later this summer when she gets spiked whilst on a night out at Peggy's. In a digital first for EastEnders, an exclusive 5-part mini-series will be made accessible to viewers via a QR code that will feature within the main episode, which will then take the audience to a link giving them the option of which platform to watch through. The digital series will offer a unique insight as viewers see the incident from Anna's own perspective and from the perspective of her friends. As Anna grapples with her detachment from reality, viewers of the miniseries will experience the internal warning signs to look out for when spiked, whereas additional footage captured by Anna's friends will showcase the outward effects the drugs have on her behaviour and mobility. EastEnders is working with leading charities, Stamp Out Spiking, and with you, as well as experts in the field. Wow. So, this is big. I can tell you now, all this technological stuff, I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I can deal with all that, all QR codes. Oh yeah, I'm well up on that. That's really interesting. Actually, this is my first thought when I read all that was actually this is a really youth-orientated storyline. This is like the closest we've come to. This is like the closest we've come to E20 returning. Do you remember that mini series?
Yeah, I do.
This is quite E20 theme. So, but this is interesting. Spiking, big thing at the moment. So, yeah, big storyline. I can tell you that the episodes will be written by Lauren Klee, which is exciting.
Good.
Off you go, calendar. I can tell you that the episodes will be written. So that's exciting. We know we're going to get some good scripts from Lauren Klee with that.
Definitely.
What were your thoughts when you first heard about this?
I thought it was interesting they picked Anna, but then also very fitting, to be fair. Yeah. It just sounds a little bit. Do you remember? Have you watched the Black Mirror episode where it's interactive?
Yes.
That was the vibe I got straight away. So
Playtest is it called that episode? I can't remember, but yeah, I know the one you mean. I know the one you mean.
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch. I spent hours on that. I felt really guilty when I was finished. The things I put that poor boy through. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so that was the vibe I got. I just think it'll be interesting. I'm just intrigued to see how they've done it. And I'm assuming that the friends are going to be Gina, Freddie, Bobby.
Yeah, well, the picture...
Maybe not Bobby, actually.
Well, I think Bobby will be a big part of it because I feel like this might be... My first thought when I heard about this is maybe this is the start of Bobby's exit. Because I feel like Freddie will very much be part of it. I've seen one of the promo pictures got Felix is in the background as well. I think Gina's there, so you know it'll be that sort of crowd. So it's good.
Do you wonder? I think is it just going to be that whoever spiked her and then they walk off, or do you think the intention is going to be that they wanted to do something with her and the friends have got involved?
Yeah, I mean, is that not normally the intention behind spiking somebody?
It is. I would assume so, but I don't know how it's going to pan out. So
no,
it doesn't sound like they're going down that route.
It sounds very much like the idea behind this is more to do with. I don't think this is going to turn into any sort of rape storyline or anything like that. It sounds very much like the intention behind this is to raise awareness of what someone spiked looks like and what it feels like to be spiked, so the warning signs and all that kind of thing, which is a great idea actually, and that actually in many ways is what a soap is supposed to be about. Like, you know, and EastEnders is a very, very strong youth orientated show. It gets a really good young audience, so it's a perfect storyline to throw at young audiences. So no complaints, really. Fair play. Looking forward to seeing it. It sounds like it's going to be very, very different. In other eras, I would worry about these sort of extra additional complicated elements to it. But this era, I'm not too concerned. I think it will be absolutely fine and rooted in EastEnders. So all good on that front. So yeah, looking forward to that. And it's it'll be good for Molly Rainford to get a big first proper storyline as well. So yeah, all good. Okay. And then another whopping great bit of news, and if any of you predicted this, I'm going to call you a liar. because no, you didn't. All right. So it turns out we've got a return on the cards, and that return is Chrissy Watts, played by Tracy Ann Oberman. It's been almost 20 years since she last appeared on EastEnders, but the infamous Chrissy Watts is on her way back onto our screens later this autumn as Tracy Ann Oberman reprises the role for a short stint. Chrissy Watts famously left Walford in December 2005, so long ago, after she was imprisoned for the murder of husband Den Watts. In a bid to protect their freedom, Chrissy, alongside Sam Mitchell and Zoe Slater, buried Den under the floor of the Vic Barrel store, and Chrissy lived for months under false pretenses with Den's beloved adoptive daughter Sharon, and that all exploded in great big spectacular fashion. I think Chrissy's last scene involved her getting punched in the face by Sharon. There was a marvellous, really famous scene of Peggy punching Chrissy and her landing in a grave. Tell Den you're sorry.
Oh yeah,
guarantee. I bet you £1 million that Chrissy ends up in a grave at some point. I think so. What's the point of bringing her back otherwise?
Who's great?
So,
that's the question.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, good, exciting. I like these. She was a memorable character.
I can't believe it's been nearly 20 years, by the way.
Well, it has been 20 years. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest though. My first thoughts were why.
Random.
What? Yeah,
very random.
Very random. But then you sort of think, well, guess what's coming up though? It's the 40th. Yeah. So actually, I think we're going to get quite a lot of this going forward. And my first thoughts were that this actually is going to open the door to a Zoe return.
Ooh.
Because Zoe was very much involved in this storyline.
Yeah, very.
And Kat is still on the square. Kat and Chrissy certainly had their aggro between each other because of all of this. So I do wonder whether we're going to see...
So you think it's actually leading to Zoe coming back?
I do.
How though? How?
I don't know. I don't know, but Chris Crenshaw gave a little bit of an interview about his first sort of tidbits about what we might expect from the 40th this week, and he basically said nostalgia is the key. Nostalgia is going to be a big thing going into the 40th. So, one of the most famous moments in EastEnders history, You Ain't My Mother.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So, with Chrissy being such a big part of Zoe's storyline, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to get a Zoe return at some point soon. And Sam,
it's not going to be a recast, is it? It wouldn't be a recast. You can't do Zoe as a recast.
Yeah, no, I kind of don't see the point in bringing it back for an anniversary if it's going to be a recast. But you never know. You never know. We might have a recast of the best actress that's ever lived playing Zoe.
No, because that seems too iconic for you to then recast Zoe.
Can I say something really controversial? I would argue that moment is more iconic than Zoe was as a character.
Well, yeah, definitely. Though I don't think that's controversial.
You wait. So all the
it was because I remember it
petrol
so well
bombs
at the
that are going to be thrown in the comment section for that.
The build up to us all knowing
I
that
ain't
Cat
scared.
was really
Bring it. What are you going to do? I've been up all night. What are you going to do? Go on, carry on.
I was just saying it was the build up to the fact that we all knew that Cat were really a mum and we were just waiting for it to all come out.
It's one of the greatest moments in the show's history. And Chrissy was a completely separate part of all. Was a completely separate storyline, but it was still quite a big storyline for Zoe because she was sleeping with Den and all of that kind of.
I didn't realise that Chrissy had been in it. She was in it for what, a year and a half?
She wasn't in it. It wasn't a long stint. No, it wasn't a long stint originally. I think I want to say 18 months or something like that. So she got a lot done in her 18 months. In fairness, a memorable character, and she could still obviously have stuff with Sharon, Kat, and Sam. And Sam has very much kind of been sold to us now as a character that can kind of just flip back in and out, cause a bit of trouble. So Sam could easily come back for this. So I think there's a lot more to it than just a Chrissy return. So we should sort of see where it comes from here. But I think exciting. Let us know in the comment section what your thoughts are. Where do you think that's going to go? About either of the pieces of news. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can do the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and all your favourite podcast sites. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark. I don't know why I went so Yorkshire for that.
So Yorkshire there.
www.buymeacoffee.com. Wow, it's been a long one, this one.
One long one. Wow. If anyone fancies editing all that for me so I can go to bed, that would be great. Cheers. Get in touch.
Have fun.
Have fun with that,
Not
Rob.
me. Sorry.
Yeah, good week. Really, really enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what we're going to get next week. Bring it all on. Make sure you're there. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.